And that leads directly to our panel, which has gotten the title, What's for Dinner? Please welcome up here on stage our panelists. They're going to engage in a conversation. Giuseppe Sala, Mayor of Milan, please come on stage. And Kamilla Seidler, Culinary Director. And to moderate the thing, Shannon, Director of Global Initiatives at C40 Cities.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much to Gunhild Stordalen. I'd just like to echo Mark's words about her inspiring leadership and the very important partnership that we have with the EAT Foundation. And on the subject of inspiring leadership, I'd like to bring us to another level. We started with Mark framing the global problem around our unsustainable food system that exists right now, and with Gunhild pointing out how we move to the global solution, transforming that food system, really starting with the work that we do as urban leaders. And when there are urban leaders mentioned, you come right to Mayor Sala, the mayor of Milan, who has been an incredible leader for the entire movement we have here at C40, leading our C40 Food Systems Network, and also being the pioneering force behind our Good Food Cities Declaration. Also, to echo Gunhild's point, we have 13 cities joining Milan right now. We need more. It's open for business. Please sign up. So, Mayor Sala, can you tell us a little bit more about why sustainable urban food systems are so important to you and to your city?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is fundamental, and we learned the lesson with the Expo, with Universal Exposition in 2015, whose theme was nutrition. And I was thinking, my grandpa always told me, eat meat on Sunday only, but probably he was worried about the cost of meat. In the meantime, we understood that working on food, we have an enormous potential consumption saving and pollution saving, and in the meantime, it may be fundamental for our health. And let me tell them this thing, because we are the ground, the territory of the Mediterranean diet. But even in our cities, even in our country, we are working and we are modifying our attitude. Why in Milan and why in the city? Because we have for many reasons, but first of all, because we have many schools and many students, and we are working on schools. Every single day, the municipality of Milan produces 85,000 meals, which is an enormous amount of meal. And so we have an opportunity to modify, to tell the families, hey, why not to discuss with you? You can have a commission, work with us, but why not work to modify our diet? And that is the city. The city is the territory where the new behavior, the new social living model can be implemented.
Great, thank you so much. I'd also like to introduce Kamilla Seidler, who is the founder and chef at Restaurant Lola here in Copenhagen. But you've also recently returned to Denmark from Bolivia, yes, where your restaurant there was rated the best in Latin America. I'm sorry, I didn't get down to try it in time. But where you were known for creating really spectacular, innovative menus that relied on sometimes unfamiliar local ingredients. Yeah. Can you talk to us about what sustainability means to you, and how do you reflect that vision in your restaurants?
It means a lot of things, first of all, because the word sustainable in itself is very confusing, because it can mean so much, but also one of the things that I came from Copenhagen, obviously food city on the rise, 2012, everything was happening, but it was also a very maybe arrogant food scene. Everything had to be perfect size, same size, and then suddenly being in Bolivia as a developing country, and you go to the countryside and you see the ways food are produced and the families suffering to get by. not being able to buy shoes for their kids, am I going to call them up and say, I want cauliflower in 9 centimeter in diameter, and then if not, I won't have it. So learning to create menus from what we have instead of demanding what we want. That was for me a big lesson, and I think a very important lesson for my future of cooking.
And seasonality is fundamental.
Exactly.
This is one or the other fundamental point we are discussing with the families and with. In Italy, we are lucky because we have so many. We have an enormous diversity in terms of food production, but seasonality is the law now. It's becoming the law, and I mean, in my opinion, in our opinion, the public system, the political system has to give the example, has to set the example, and then you can call the private sector to follow you, but you have to start before.
I agree very much. And also as chefs, we get the question, could you please save the world? And we're like, no. I don't think so. We'll love to help, but I think I agree very much. It needs to be a decision that comes from somebody creating society, which most often start at the municipalities. And also creating 85,000 meals a day, it needs a lot of biodiversity, because if you need 70,000 tons of tomatoes only, then it's a problem, and then we're back at.
It is not simple, because if you ask the children, what would you prefer to eat, then they respond almost always pizza, and we say no, pizza, not all the day pizza. So try to modify a little bit. So, and the families, you can imagine the mother. One of them, I mean, my problem in the relationship with the citizen is the relationship with the mother when we discuss about the food production and what the children eat in the canteens, because normally they say, yes, you are right, but my daughter is used to. So, but again, only in the city is possible to maintain the relationship, the discussion at a level for which you believe that you can modify the situation.
So to pick up on that theme, because we've heard time and time again in our 2 days here together how mayors can't do it alone, national governments can't do it alone, businesses can't do it alone. So how in transforming our urban food systems are we working in Copenhagen together with the restaurants, with the food service industry, with the city and in Milan? Talk about those partnerships that you're delivering on here.
I mean, for us, opening in Copenhagen for me is also very new. So I'm trying to learn all the best ways to. We call our restaurant vegetable forward, not to put any labels on it. Besides the fact that we won't have any beef. There's a couple of decisions that we've made, and it's maybe a small step for a restaurant, but I think it's also a way to gently nudge people in the right direction when they go out for dinner, and then what decision do they make when they come home. We have a lot of conversations with the municipality of Copenhagen also on being good examples and collaborating, and I think especially the work with children is super important for us as restaurant. Lola.
One suggestion I can also give a suggestion to the mayor of Copenhagen, who is a very, very brilliant mayor. But I mean, one example we are putting in place is with restaurant. We are offering the restaurant, not only the restaurant, but also the food distribution and also bars. But we are offering the restaurant this possibility. If you donate at the end of the day food, which is otherwise could become scrap waste, I will reduce the taxes. And this works. So
there's support from the restaurant industry.
So you give me the system is very simple. So we establish some hubs in some of the main zone of the city. Normally focuses on those parts of the city which are more critical, more poor, or with more old people. So we provided the hubs, and if they give us the demonstration that they are delivering food at the end of the day, when they close the restaurant, we reduce the taxes, and it is effective because just in the first year we lost in some way a couple of million of euros But in the same time, it was an extraordinary measure.
No, I think it's a super important move. Also, the more organized the cities become, the more bureaucracy and the more difficult it is. We would love to donate food, but then you have systems stopping you for food healthy purposes and so on. But then again, if you're comparing to having a meal or not having a meal, then I think if you're a responsible restaurant, you won't send food out of the house that's not food safe. So it's very frustrating to be under these kind of locks where you can't donate and share stuff that you would rather not throw out.
I think that's a great point, and one we haven't talked too much about as we focused on diets, but of course reducing food loss and food waste is absolutely essential, and another leader in that area really must give Milan credit for sort of showing so many cities the way. Maybe to come back to some earlier points where we think about the unifying effect of food. And, you know, we all enjoy cooking a meal together or gathering friends and family around the table. And for us at C42, the work we do with different cultures and cities, it's a way to bring us all together over a meal. But how do we make sure people aren't left out around that table? How can we make sure our healthy, sustainable, plant-based food options are affordable and are accessible to all? Tell us a little bit about how you see that happening or your vision for delivering in your city.
Of course, there is not only a possibility, only a way, but we are trying to work on the idea that food means, first of all, procurement, second, consumption, third, waste. And we can act on the three levels. Consumption is apparently incredible, but around Milan there is agriculture. And let me say, Milan is the big municipal agriculture area in Italy. It's even a sort of tradition. My city has a long history, 26th century, a lot of water. So agriculture was in the mainland some century ago. That was the real agriculture base of Europe. So consumption is fundamental. We have agriculture. We are asking. We are giving the opportunity in our system to the producer to sell their product, even if sometimes they are a little bit more expensive. And we are asking the private sector to do the same. Then consumption. I gave you some example. It's a question to reiterate the lesson and to convince the people that there is a different model. And then waste. It is fundamental. In Milan now have a separate collection of waste, and at the end we are in condition to have 65% of waste separated and recycled, even food when possible, and that again is creating a sort of rings for which a virtual circle for which you say, so if you start procuring in the best way and then you the consumption and then the waste and you start again. So the idea is to see the community like a system that for sure cannot solve all the problems of the world, but working on the whole system and asking everybody to cooperate can give a lesson for other cities. And from this point of view, the biggest city have the duty to give this solid demonstration.
Very good. So, Chef Seidler, I wanted to ask you, our topic is what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Can you, for those of us who won't have the opportunity to go visit Restaurant Lola while we're here, describe to us your planetary health diet. What's on the plate? What are you cooking for dinner tonight?
Just to notch on biodiversity, then not what I had for dinner yesterday.
Okay, good.
That's for sure. Unless they're leftovers, then please use them.
Then good.
Definitely something, I mean, if we want to use all the space that we're using for creating food for animals so we can eat very cheap meat, then we would have plenty for everybody, just to get back to your question before. So I think definitely if we're talking a Danish winter season, then definitely something with probably baked beetroots, tarragon, a little bit of buckwheat, crispy buckwheat. I don't know, something delicious.
Sounds fabulous. Very nice.
Let me say one one thing about water, because water is resources. It is very critical, and it is normally associated to environment for the reason that you see even in our schools there are so many vending machines offering plastic bottles. This is a problem. So another action we implemented this year, the first day of school, some few weeks ago, we donated 100,000 aluminum water bottle to the children, to the primary and secondary school. And then we ask, always for the same method, we act first, but then we ask you to do the same. So we are asking the school to get rid of the vending machine, and that is very effective, not only for the result, but also because the children go home and the parent asks them why you had the bottle, and they why not, and so on. So it's even an enormous possibility to work on the family's environment, which is the base of our life, on those fundamental themes.
I think that echoes again Mark's point about why working on consumption can be so powerful. It gets down to how we're all living our daily lives, what we're doing, how we work within our families. We have 50 seconds left. Backstage, we started an interesting discussion. If you were on a desert island for 1 year with one ingredient, what would it be? Mayor Sala, first to you, and then Chef Seidler, let's see if you've thought of it.
Honestly, it is not my idea, but I asked to a famous man in Milan. He established the most famous food store, and he replied, Parmesan. And if you think about that, Parmesan, of course, genuine, real Italian Parmesan.
Not processed from
Parmesan
America.
is offering us everything, and it is good.
Very good. Chef Seidler?
I won't disagree.
2 Parmesans, that's excellent. Well, thank you both very much for your work, for your leadership on these issues locally. Thank you all.